Today I'm going to teach you how to sell your language course with a live event. It can be a masterclass, a 2-day challenge, it can be a speaking workshop, anything. And not just a language course, but it can be a speaking club, a language membership, anything, like any language program that you want to launch with a live event, because they always convert better than the rest, like than an evergreen funnel. So you are already an established language teacher, you have a name in the industry, or you are an accent coach, you are a pronunciation coach, maybe you are a new language coach, or a language school owner, online language school owner, and you're making great money, or you're making okay money, good money. So you know a lot about marketing, you know a lot about sales, you know like all the launch sequences and how to launch your language programs, and like your launch numbers, they are okay. So you're launching your language course with a live event that you promote on stories or your YouTube channel or your TikTok, and every time people join your language program and they leave amazing testimonials, but every time you think like, oh, I could have done this launch, like I could have done way more, or like you think there was something that I was missing, that I missed in this launch, in this particular launch, and this is why I'm not doubling my launch numbers, which is the case for you. And I'm going to tell you exactly what you're missing from your launches. So something that I keep seeing, this is the pattern that I keep seeing in the language teaching industry whenever language teachers and accent coaches, language school owners are launching their language programs, is that they're launching their language programs in a very typical, traditional, standard way. And it's not making people want to buy from you, because no matter how good, how amazing, fantastic, phenomenal your language course is, if you're launching it in a very predictable way, they do not want to buy it. Like their brain, like the human brain, always craves novelty. It always craves something new, something fresh. So whenever you are announcing, like doing a typical launch, like you announce a free masterclass or a 3-day speaking challenge or a workshop, a webinar, and you say like, speak like a native, join my webinar, you will get to know the secrets, like how native speakers speak, then people do not really want to join it. Like, okay, some low IQ people do join it because they think that they can speak like a native, they can learn how to speak like a native in 3 weeks, 3 months, right? But then those high IQ language learners that actually have the discernment in their mind and they are intelligent, they know that they can't do it. And anyway, so whenever you are launching your live event like webinar or a challenge workshop in a very typical way, people do not want to join it or sign up for this live event, and the only people that get impressed by your very standard boring launch are people that are easily impressed, and people that are easily impressed, they typically do not make a lot of money and they will not upgrade into your 3K, 5K, 10K language course, one-to-one language coaching, one-to-one accent coaching, when you host this Zoom call and sell and pitch your language course at the end. And then another mistake that I keep seeing in like whenever language teachers are launching their language courses through live events, they are hosting random as fuck webinars or masterclasses or like challenges, and they are randomly choosing the event format. Like you do not have any underlying strategy behind like why you are hosting and creating this particular event, this particular 2-day speaking challenge or 3-day workshop, 1-day masterclass. You're like, okay, all other successful language teachers, big language teachers, pronunciation coaches are doing this, so I should probably do this as well. But the thing is, you are probably, like, if you're not doubling your launch numbers, you're probably choosing the wrong length of your event. So instead of like a 30-day challenge or a 30-day like workshop, speaking workshop, you're choosing a one-off webinar that wouldn't work for your language teaching business, in your case, for your audience of language learners. And you're also choosing the wrong format. For example, you are choosing like a 30-day challenge, 30-day speaking challenge, when it doesn't fit where your language teaching business is at and where your audience of language learners is at. Like, and in your case, where your audience isn't really warm, they are like cold, something that would be more converting for you is a short-term micro offer live event, which is a 2-day training, 2-day masterclass, like maximum of like 5, 6 or like 7, 8 days, okay? And then the next mistake that I keep seeing in the industry whenever I see language teachers host their webinars, their masterclasses, is that they have a really rigid structure of their webinar or masterclass or a challenge, especially when they are like pitching their language course at the end, and it feels like they're just listing out all the features of their language course, speaking club or language membership, and it feels really inauthentic, as if they just want to make this sale. They just really want it and they're fucking desperate. And when your audience, like when the attendees, language learners that are on this live event, when they can feel that you're desperate, when they can feel your desperation, they no longer want to buy from you. Like just zoom out and think about yourself. You would never buy, and you never buy from people, from coaches, teachers, therapists, or like fitness coaches that are fucking desperate, that are selling something just because they want to pay their bills, you know, like to pay for their rent. And whenever you are creating a really rigid structure of your live event, then your desperation, it can be felt, it can be smelled, okay? Then something that most language teachers are not doing after their live events, masterclasses, challenges, is they are not sending post-event email sequences. Okay, it's like, let's say you have hosted your live webinar, you sold your language course, speaking club or whatever, and then that's it. You said like, here's the pre-sale price, like the time-sensitive bonus. If you buy it within the next 48 hours, you get it, all this stuff, okay? And then you're not sending them the post-event email sequence where you are warming them up for your language course once again, where you're selling your language course once again. Like, you are like leaving thousands on the table if you're not doing that, if you're not sending your post-event email sequence. And then a lot of the language teachers that are already established and are making good money with selling their language courses, speaking clubs with hired teachers, language memberships, language communities, they are sending post-event email sequences. But it's just so funny because they are sending post-event email sequences, but in their emails after the webinar, after the challenge, after this live event, they're just describing their language course, and that's it. Like, they are describing what's inside the language course, the calls, like how many calls they have inside of this speaking club, how, like, the feedback, all of this stuff that the language learners, the attendees of this live event, that they already know and they do not need it, and it will not make them buy. So if you aren't sending the right email sequence after your live event, you are leaving thousands on the table and you have to learn it. So, and I know a lot, like I love launching. I love when my clients are launching, are live launching their language courses, and I know a lot about launches. So one of my clients, a Spanish language coach, he has recently done a $42,000 launch of his high ticket Spanish course. Another client of mine, she is a French teacher, and she had recently received more than 100 requests for her French speaking club. Then another client, one of the first clients that I ever had, a British accent coach, she had 10,000 euros a month, and that was her first launch. Yeah, I feel like I'm guessing like that was her first big launch, and she sold her British accent course. So I know exactly like what kind of emails you should send after your live event. I know exactly what you should say on your webinar to make people buy, even if they said like, oh, I'm not planning to buy anything this month, right? They're fucking lying to you. So the first thing that you have to do in order to have like a sold out launch of your language course or your speaking club, your language membership, is you have to stay clear from traditional live launches and the ways that you have been taught how to launch language courses and other offers. So if I were you, I would create an unconventional live experience where it's not a typical challenge, where it's not a typical webinar, it's not a typical speaking workshop, speak like a native, 3 mistakes, like how to get fluent. Not this stuff, okay? Because if you do this, your audience of language learners, they will feel like you're just ticking the boxes, and they will not want to create this energy exchange where they are giving you money and you're giving them the energy and the knowledge, the skills, the speaking practice, okay? That's not how that's happening, okay? And by unconventional, I'm just thinking about my clients' launches and the events that they have created. You can create, for example, if you're launching a speaking club, you can host an off-script speaking session without any rules. Or it can be like, let's say if you're launching, if you want to sell a language course where you help them get confident and you help them be authentic in conversations with Americans or like British people, then your live event can be about unleashing their authentic selves, where you say, hey guys, there are no rules in this off-script speaking session and I'm unleashing your authentic selves. And this live event, you say that it doesn't have recordings like replays, and they can be their unfiltered selves. So basically, and as a result of them being their authentic selves, native speakers can see who they really are at their core, and native speakers naturally want to have authentic, profound conversations with them. So that's what's happening. Okay, so the first thing is create non-traditional, unconventional live experiences that go beyond the normal events like challenge, speaking workshop, all this like typical stuff that is predictable for the human brain, for the human psyche. Then you should strategically choose what live event format to choose. So if you have a colder audience, then I would lean towards like 1-day masterclasses and workshops and maybe 3-day, 4-day challenges, and they would be free, not low ticket, like it would be completely free. Then if you have a warmer audience, which means that you're getting queries about how to learn English, Spanish, French, Chinese with you, you're getting like interest, demand around your language program that you're selling right now, then your live event can be longer, like the lengths can be longer. It can be a 7-day speaking challenge, it can be 15-day live experience, or even like a speaking mastermind. I remember one of my clients, she used to be in my mastermind. She launched a speaking mastermind, so that was fantastic and people loved it and they bought from her. So she had like crazy conversion levels from that speaking mastermind. So you can go beyond what your language teaching industry tells you to do, and you can name your live events not like teachers name it, like challenge, workshop, or webinar. Okay, go beyond that. It can be anything. It can be like literally anything. Okay. And the next thing is what you're doing inside of your live event. Let's say it's so your live event, how to choose the format. The format has to mirror the language program that you want to sell in this live event. If you're selling a speaking club, then you can create a live event that is a one-off speaking session on a very particular theme. So so it mirrors the way that you are teaching them English, Spanish, French, whatever language you're teaching in this speaking club. Okay, so, or let's say you are selling a pronunciation program, then you can create a 10-day pronunciation or like accent boot camp, or it can be an accent summer camp. For example, it's summer and people can like join an accent summer camp. So whenever you are choosing the format of your, like how you're going to launch your language course, speaking club, whatever, the live event format depends on the format of the paid language offer that you want people to join during this launch. That's it. And yes, you can do an amazing launch with a webinar that doesn't mirror what you're doing inside of your language program, but you're going to have crazy conversions and people joining your language program like right away without any hesitation when they truly get the taste of how it is to be in your language course. Okay, let's say if you are like, I have a lot of clients that are launching and selling language communities like on School, on other platforms, just on Telegram, WhatsApp and whatnot, and their own websites. So whenever you are launching, if you are launching a pronunciation community, a language community, then a perfect live event would be a 14-day community challenge or 14-day community speaking experience where you are including the same features that you include into your language community that you want them to join. Let's say it's like a low ticket, $55 per month, like, or $70-$80 per month language community. Okay, if you want people to really join your community, then give them the full taste of this community by creating a 14-day live event where you include the group calls, the speech audit, the homework, like everything that you typically include in your language membership or the community, okay? And then how you're selling your language offer in your live event. Let's say it's a webinar. Most language teachers, they are just given tips, very fucking useless tips, the ones that everybody knows, and the ones that only impress really stupid people, really stupid language learners, and stupid language learners, they never have the money to invest in your language course. So it's one of the common mistakes, okay? You're launching a webinar, a live webinar, and you're teaching them on very typical stuff like be authentic, or it can be like phrasal verbs, you know, like some very basic language learning tips, okay? And it's not going to make people want to join your language course because what will happen is those stupid people that do not have any money, like that are broke, they will love your tips because there's something new for them, because like they're fucking stupid, and they will not join your language course or speaking club or language community because they do not have the money to join it. And then high IQ people, intelligent language learners who have watched, like who have attended your live webinar and have listened to your very basic tips on how to learn this language, French, English, Spanish, the British accent, the American accent, they will realize that they didn't learn anything new. Their world wasn't shaken. They are not they are not getting anything new from your live webinar. So why should they join your language course if they aren't getting anything new from your live webinar? And like, why should they pay 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 euros for your language program, speaking club, whatever you're selling, if your live webinar is just a basic piece of shit? Okay, so on your live webinar, you should make sure that you are including your unique differentiators that other language teachers do not have, and that your unique differentiator is the missing piece in their lives, and that your unique differentiator is the vehicle, the thing that will get them to where they want to be. Obviously, like, that's the basics of marketing and you already know this, but I'm just repeating that. So let's say one of your unique differentiators is that you are unfiltered, you have no filter when you are speaking English, and you are like off the rails, like fucking off the rails, like deranged psycho, And this is something that you are transferring onto your students. So, and as a result of you giving them this energy, like psycho energy, they become more psychologically free. They become more authentic with like in conversations with native speakers. They feel like themselves, and as a result, a lot of native speakers, they gravitate towards them, and they want to be their friends. They want to have profound conversations with them. Why? Because finally these people, these language learners, they are seen as like a breath of fresh air because of their craziness. Okay, something like this, and this craziness was given to them by you in your language course. So you have to know, like, you have to let them know that in your language course you are injecting your unique differentiator that nobody else has among language teachers, pronunciation coaches, right? And then, even if you are not exactly mirroring the format of your language course inside of your live webinar, for example, I would still include some parts of the format that you will have in your language course, speaking club, or anything that you're selling. For example, if it's a live webinar, let's say people are engaging in the Zoom chat, they're saying like, yes, 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 I love it. Like, you are including all the micro yeses into your live webinar. You're saying their names, like, you know the stuff, right? Like, you read those books, like how to launch, like how to host webinars. And you also add this part into your live webinar where you show it in action, where you get them to engage and to say something. For example, if you want to sell a pronunciation course, then you do some kind of shadowing and you give them feedback on their speech. Or maybe if you're a Spanish teacher, French teacher, and you're selling a speaking club, then you can be auditing their speech in real time and give them, let's say, you can say, okay, this phrase is not natural, this is not how I, a native French speaker, would say it, and here is like two options, like two natural native like phrases that I would naturally say instead of the one that you used. Okay, so here you're giving them a taste of what it's like to be in your pronunciation course, in your speaking club, in your language course, or like language community. And the last part of having a successful sold out language course launch or speaking club launch, language community launch, is the post-event email sequence. And because I want you to read about levels of awareness, guys, okay? There are five different levels of a buyer's awareness. So unaware, and then it's problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and most aware, right? And in the post-event email sequence, you are talking to the most aware buyer, to the most aware language learner, because they already know a lot, like they know everything about your language course. And one of the common mistakes, as I just said in the beginning of this video, is that most language teachers in their post-event email sequence, they keep repeating what's inside of their language course, the frequently asked questions, the features again, the calls, so they keep repeating what they have already said, okay, like their story. But that's wrong, because people do not need it after the event. The most aware buyer doesn't need it. So instead, something that I would include into your post-event email sequence is, I would in the first email after the webinar, challenge, or workshop, I would include the identity elevation trigger, where you are pre-qualifying them and you are showing them who they are. Like, you can say that they are like, hey, you know that you are more intelligent, and you know that you're better than other people, you are well traveled, and you only have a plan A, you never have a plan B, and that's why you really need to learn Spanish. Or you want to go from B2 Spanish to C2 Spanish, and you want to have profound conversations with Spanish native speakers, with Latin Americans, because you want to go beyond surface level artificial conversations whenever you're traveling to Latin America. You're talking to their identity and who they want to become. And here's where most language teachers trip up, and they do it in a very cheesy motivational way, where they're highly inauthentic and fake as fuck, and they say I don't know, they're just saying, you are dreaming about emigrating to Spain. Imagine yourself in a bar talking to Spanish people, drinking beer. And it's just becoming a cliche, just a marketing cliche. And when your audience of language learners that are really intelligent, when they notice that you're using cliches, and you are using cliches to get them to buy from you, they do not want to buy from you. So use this identity elevation trigger in an authentic way. Do not try to make them buy, okay? Then the next email that I would send is I would use behavioral mirroring. What does behavioral mirroring mean? It means that you are describing their behavior at this particular moment when they are reading your email after your live event. So I would open your email with this language learner's exact state. Let's say they are you can say, I know what you're doing. You are checking the sales page. You are watching my stories. You are clicking the links. You have even talked to your wife or husband about joining my language course, and you know everything about my language course already. You're just thinking, do I join it or not? So the more you break the fourth wall, and the more you get inside of their heads, what exactly they're doing right now after the event, the more likely they are to buy from you, because they will be like, yes, I agree with you. That's exactly how I'm feeling right now. And then the next email that I would send, it's not like the next email, you can do this in the same email. I would show them that whatever life they have right now, in English, Spanish, French, whatever language you're teaching, and the social life they have, the job they have, it's just a mirror to the moves they have made so far in the past 2 years, 6 years, 6 months, 1 year, which is the truth. So I would bomb them with a lot of truths, and then I would say that the life they have is the mirror to their language level, Spanish level, English level, or it can be French, anything. And for example, I have been living in the UK, I myself, Pauline, I have been living in the UK for the past few years, and I don't have a lot of friends here, right? Why? Because of my lack of moves to build a rich social life, and I did not really want it. But my sister that lived in London for more than 10 years, she has a lot of friends, 100 maybe. Why? Because her English level is fantastic, it's amazing, and she was also making the moves to build this rich social life. So in your email, let's get back to your emails. In your email, I would state the truth that whatever they have in their life, it's a mirror to how they have been moving, which is the truth. And if they, let's say, I have a client, okay? I have a client. She is a French teacher for LGBT French learners, expats that are moving to Canada or France, and they want to have a rich social life in these countries, okay? And I said, so for her, a marketing angle would be that they do not have this rich social life with queer people, queer French people, because they're not making the moves to build this rich social life. They're not using queer slang in French. They're not using they are afraid of not fitting in with other queer people in France or Canada, right? So whatever they have in their life, it's a mirror to their moves. Okay, so I would truth bomb in your post-event email sequence. And then I would also talk about perception in your emails. What kind of blind spots they have in conversations with native speakers that they cannot notice. And as a result, as a consequence, I would rather say, the native speakers that are talking to them, they are not perceiving them in the way that your students want to be perceived as, like charismatic, intelligent, or interesting, or fresh, new. Like, it's all rooted into classic human psychology. We all want to be interesting. We all want to be like the best one. We all want to be the god of any friend group. It's something that you can also talk about in your email sequence, that you can talk to their internal feelings whenever they're talking to native speakers, and just remind them of these feelings, because a lot of language learners, they try to hide their pain, and they're trying to hide their dissatisfaction with the current state of affairs in their life. And they're like, okay, if this native speaker, if this American, if she didn't want to talk to me, maybe she wasn't in the great mood, right? She's trying to find some kind of excuse. But then the real reason, something you can say in your email, the real reason why she didn't talk to you, why she didn't want to talk to you, wasn't because she wasn't in a bad mood, but because you felt like a boring piece of shit to her, while in your native language you are the most interesting person ever, right? So you can also create this contrast between her identity in her native language, in her L1, and her L2, like French, English, Spanish, whatever language you're teaching, whatever language program you are selling. And then, as I said, a very common mistake is describing the features of your language course. Like, we have group calls, we have homework, community calls, blah, 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 okay? But what you're gonna do differently in your post-event email sequence, you're going to describe what's inside the features of your language calls. What's it like, what you do on your group calls, what you do in your speaking club, like what you do in your speaking club sessions. And do not just say, we have a lot of speaking practice. Like, no shit, bro. Of course you have a lot of speaking practice, but what makes your speaking practice in your French speaking club different from how 99% of language teachers do it? Maybe what makes it different is that you are talking about feminism from a very particular point of view, or maybe you're talking about high caliber topics that like sophisticated topics, okay? So you have to find this edge. Do not try to force this differentiator, like what you do inside of your group speaking sessions or your language course. It has to be something that flows from you naturally, something that you typically do in your daily life. And the differentiator that you have in you, that you can later inject in your language course, it will be always rooted into what you do in your daily life and the topics that you can't shut up about. And the last thing that I just had a call with one of my clients, a Spanish coach, and it's a piece of advice that I gave to him, like what to include to his post-event email sequence. And I said to add a visual, like a picture, a video into your email that future paces language learners. Let's say, so what I mean by that, so you're sending the last email. It's short, it's reminding them of like the time sensitive bonus, or the pre-sale ends in 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. And you are also adding a picture of, it can be a picture from Pinterest, or it can be a picture of your life, where it's a depiction of what life they are going to have after taking your language course, what kind of life they're dreaming about. For example, if your audience is Spanish learners and they are nomads or they are expats, then find a picture on Pinterest or like Google, whatever, where they're having, like where they're sitting on the terrace and they're drinking something, they are having this lively profound conversation with someone, or they're sitting in someone's kitchen at 4 a.m. and smoking, you know. So try to future pace them, and because try to include a lot of senses, which is sight, smell, touch, like music, everything, okay? And the more senses you include, the better, and the more people will see themselves in your language program. Because why? Because to them, their dream will be tangible. It will be something that is achievable and they really, really want to have. And their dream will, like what they want to have with the help of this language, English, Spanish, French, whatever, it will outweigh the price of your language course or speaking of, like whatever price, like whatever language program you're selling. So the price is here, right, on the scale, and the dream is here. And they're like, okay, the dream is, like for me, it's more important to have this dream, and I can just pay this price for this dream, and like it costs me nothing. So even if your language course is, let's say, 6,000 euros, and for them it can be big money, they will still pay for it, because the dream, that like this future pacing something, this dream is more important to them than the price.